Hi everybody, my name is Dominic Morier and welcome to the very first YouTube video of Moriercraft Woodwinds. This is my shop. I am brand new to YouTube, so I'm sure I'm making plenty of mistakes. But if you are interested in woodwind repair, please like and subscribe and share this video. I'm gonna try to get better at this and just kind of figure it out as I go. The YouTube part, that is. I've been repairing for 20 years, and so I thought I would just kind of give a quick talk today about how I got started in the business and just kind of what the beginnings and principles I hold behind repair. So I got started in repair very early. I was only 17 when I got started, and I was in my local music store, which was called Music Stop in Halifax, Nova Scotia, which has since been bought by Long McQuaid. It kind of happened by accident. I was in there all the time. I was an active player in Halifax, and so I was buying mouthpieces and reeds and saxophones and various paraphernalia all the time. And so I was just approached one day by the band department manager. Her name was Kelly, and she asked me if I wanted a job. And naturally I said yes. Most of my friends were, working at McDonald's and Tim Hortons and just kind of the usual teenager job thing. So I said yes, I would absolutely like a job. And she said that they had an opening in band instrument repair, which of course I said I have no idea how to do that. And she said, that's okay, we'll train you. So I was going in on the weekends while I was still in high school, and I was apprenticing with Mariusz Kowalski, who is now, he runs MK Woodwinds in Nova Scotia. But at the time he was the senior technician at Music Stop. And Mariusz, I've been repairing since I was 17. I've been repairing for 20 years, and I have my own shop and everything, but I am still amazed by Mariusz. He is an absolute master technician, and yeah, he was a fantastic teacher. He's originally from Poland, and he left Poland, which was difficult to do because it was still during the communist regime. So he defected to England, and he ended up working for Haworth of London, which is an institution of fine woodwind instruments. Mariusz would have been repairing for some of the people who played for the London Symphony Orchestra, certainly. Haworth is particularly known for their oboes. So I was apprenticing under him, which meant, given his background, I didn't get away with much. The first thing we did was I had to tear apart my tenor saxophone, and I had to clean everything and put it all back together. And I left the shop that day with most of my horn back together and a grocery bag full of keys, which I put back together on my grandmother's table. And she was thrilled about that. But it played mostly by the time I was done. And so then the next week I went in, he pulled this old Czechoslovakian tenor saxophone out of the back room, and he said, okay, we're going to overhaul this. Naturally, I asked, what is an overhaul? And he told me that we were going to take everything apart. We were going to replace everything, all the replaceable parts on the saxophone, make sure that the body was straight, the dents were taken out, tone holes were level, you know, all of that stuff. What is an overhaul? And so it took several weeks to get it together, obviously, because I was only working, 2 days a week. So it took weeks to complete this thing. And then when I took the clamps off it and dropped the leak light down inside, and of course it lit up like a Christmas tree. It was awful. It didn't really have a prayer. It kind of played. And then the process was repeated. It was just overhaul after overhaul after overhaul. And I really like overhauling. It really is. I find it is the most complete element of repair, because you have no choice but to correct everything all at once. And if you take your time with it and you're patient with it, then you put your time into it and your skill into it, and the horn, even though you are restoring it, the horn is giving something back to you as well, if you're really paying attention and listening, as it is with any kind of artful pursuit. Like whatever the art is, you are putting the art into it, and the art is putting something back into you. That's my own thought on it anyway. And I'll expand on that more later on in subsequent videos. But after that, and just doing that over and over and over again, I would work every summer full time in the music shop. And then once I started university, where I originally went to Dalhousie University in Halifax, and I studied with Don Palmer, he's a legend of Canadian jazz. I continued working there throughout university, both on the weekends and days here and there when I could, and full time in the summer. So I got to really be close by and apprenticed with Marius for about 5 years. And then at the end of those 5 years, I went to Humber College in Toronto, where I set up kind of a mini repair shop in my dorm room, which of course the college knew nothing about, which was good. So I did that for a year, just repairing out of my dorm room. And then I ended up at Steve's Music the following year, Steve's Music in Toronto, which I'm going to be completely honest in every video. Steve's was a horrible experience. It was a company that really, they didn't care about the band department, and certainly didn't care about the band repair department, which was me. I was the only one there doing anything in terms of band repair, and I never had the tools I needed. I never had the parts I needed, and it was, to be quite honest, it was just it was a store that was staffed by people who just didn't care, which, I mean, it made me pretty crazy, to be completely honest, because that's just not who I am. So I was there. I was at Steve's while I was going to Humber. And then once I left Humber, basically Steve's could give me the time that would work with my Humber schedule. So that's why I stayed. And then once I finished and got my degree at Humber, which is hanging right there, I then talked to St. John's Music, which was also in Toronto. And I went there, and that was a much better shop. I was with a great group of technicians. And we definitely had some laughs, we had some fun. But the cool thing about about St. John's was that I had the opportunity there to really kind of market myself. I was able to do all the self-promotion I wanted. And that really helped me to get my name out and be there, be on the scene as a technician. I got to hang out with some cool guys. Ted Sparks, who's a great brass technician, was the shop manager there. But the other reason that St. John's was a really significant shop was because it's where I met my wife, and we got married in 2014. So we're, next week it will be our 7th wedding anniversary, which is it's great. And let me see. So I was there for about 5 years, 5 or 6 years, I guess. I think. And while I was working there full time, I was also playing in a band called the Soul Motivators, which that was the most significant musical thing I've ever done in my life. It was a successful band. We released 2.5 albums while I was there, and then we toured. We went as far as New Brunswick, didn't get all the way to Nova Scotia, which is kind of too bad. And then what happened? It's something I miss. I did leave the band, unfortunately. Being married and having kids and being a homeowner and a business owner, you do kind of realize that you can't quite have it all. You can get pretty close, but you can't quite have it all. So unfortunately I did leave the band, and I miss them all the time. I love those guys. Go check out the Soul Motivators because they're still going. But the next big thing that happened was my wife and I, we bought a house in Brighton, Ontario, and right next to the house was this space that I have built to be my shop. And it was right when we bought the house that I started working for Long & McQuaid, which is the biggest music store in Canada. And I started pretty much building the shop almost immediately as soon as I started working for Long & McQuaid. And little by little, it just came together. And I'll do a quick little shop tour because I did some major work in this building. We'll start off. Here is my bench, and this is the first thing I guess I did in the shop was I built this workbench. Now it's all cleaned up, thankfully. This is my machine corner, my lathe and my drill press, air compressor, and then my wood stove. Over here is my cleaning station. Now, when we first got the shop, this entire wall here that you see in front of us had water damage, and I had to rip out the entire wall, and the sill plate had dry rotted. I had to replace that, sister the studs. I had to pour new concrete underneath because it was the concrete pad wasn't straight. So I had to pour new concrete and pull it back in and drill it into the wall, and then do all the other stuff, the re-drywalling, the insulating everything, getting it all set back up again. This is my dedenting area. And I'm an avid reader, so I've got a bookshelf there. And then this picture right here, that is my grandfather. He's really responsible for my inspiration in shops. I was in his shop from the time I was 7 years old on, and I just loved it. And he did all kinds of things around the house, but he was very much a big inspiration for this. And then this is my hot bench where I do all my soldering. Whether it's brazing or soft soldering. I do it all here. It's a dedicated space. And then we're back around to the bench. So that's just a quick video of how I got started. But in terms of the principles of my shop, I really think that, as I mentioned earlier, that this is an artful pursuit. It is repair, if done properly, I think is really something that the technician grows as the instrument is repaired. You have to listen to the horn. You have to listen to what the instrument needs. And if you are coming at it from that point of view, then there's always something to learn, and there is always a path and a direction to take. I'll have more thoughts on that in subsequent videos, but repair is also a responsibility. When a musician who has this instrument takes it seriously, and it is almost an extension of themselves, which I understand that because I was a performing musician for years as well. And the technician has a great responsibility to care for that instrument and treat it with the respect that it deserves. The instrument is an extension of that individual. And so one of the things that I came up against in big company shops is that it's just slap it out and get it out the door. When I am repairing, I want to repair for someone. I want to repair your instrument and have it be the way you want it. It's not just getting it together, put the pads in and make sure it seals and send it out the door. That's not my approach to repair. I need to repair for someone. So that's my principles, and that's what I stick to. And it doesn't matter if you are an 11-year-old kid playing the instrument for the very first time or a seasoned professional. You will always get nothing but my best, most complete work from beginning to end. So that is the beginning of Moriercraft Woodwinds, and my name is Dominic Morier, and I love repairing woodwind instruments, and I'm happy to help.